Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Donovan Sadiq. I'm the Inland Empire Informer, and I'm here to inform you about what is really going on in the state of the world today. You also can see me on the Demetra K Show. She usually has a show on Facebook Live at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Los Angeles time, however you want to call it, West Coast time. However, please tune in there. We still found a way to do the show. We do it remotely, so we're not going into the studios at all. And basically, we do the show remotely. If you guys want to come on the show, we can click you in and you can come into the studio and chop it up with us and have a nice talk. But check us out, 3 p.m. on Sundays. That's the Demetra K Show. And then we have Free Flow Fridays, which we don't really have a set time. We just get together when our things, well, there's nothing to do now. And but check us out on Fridays. But if you miss those two things, all of our videos, all of our podcasts, they are archived on YouTube. Go to Demetra K, or go to Donovan Sadiq, or go to News from the Edgemont. All of them are up there. You can see the videos. Click like and share what you like and what you see, and give us a comment, be it negative, be it positive. But what we try to do here is inform you guys what's going on, because we know what's going on. And please forgive me. I know there's a lot of feedback with my glasses, so I'm going to take those glasses off unless I really have to read something. I'm farsighted, so I should be able to read what I want to tell you guys about. A lot of you guys have already heard about the direct payments, and if you checked into the show Sunday, we brought on financial guru from Cornucopia, financial advisor, or just advisor, Walter Coulter, which is Demetra's older brother, and he's been a financial advisor for decades, okay? And we gave some advice about some of the things you should be doing right now as this stock market has crashed, the economy has crashed, even though Trump isn't saying anything about it. Everything's great under him. Now look at us. But I want you guys to remember one thing. This is a severe strain of the flu. This is a serious thing. Now, it's funny how when myself and others started talking about they're not showing bodies, they're not showing, the grieving families and stuff like that. Not saying that this wasn't serious. What we were saying was, doesn't this enhance their seriousness of the situation if they would show that? And it was funny that they weren't showing that because the numbers weren't adding up to what they were saying. So now all of a sudden they'll show a few little clicks and tracks, and they're telling you, 3,000 people have died, and I'm very sure that has happened, and condolences out to the families. But a good patriot always, without question, questions its government. And I, Donovan Sadiq, the Inland Empire Informer, believe that this government has no credibility after 9/11. So everything that they do moving forward, I'm going to question, because it's, just total bullshit. So if you're one of those people that are sheeple and you just like to, I'll just follow along, hey, that's your right. But what we try to do here is we try to inform you what is actually going on. I shouldn't be touching my face, but I am. But I wash my hands, and I'm in my home. But we're going to try to inform you what's going on and what's happening. So if you watch the show Sunday, the stock market is down. Most of the stocks have gained back what they lost. But at the time, most of the stocks lost about 40% of their value. Now, regardless if you have the money or not, that is the time to buy stocks. You buy when it's low, low, low. And we're at the bottom of the economic totem pole, but we're at the top of the consumerism. So that doesn't make sense. Black people were kind of backwards in how we do things. I mean, if we stopped buying everything, the whole system would collapse. Believe that, okay? So, we're the type of people that will buy a house when the market is high to buy a house, which is totally ridiculous. And I know I had a lot of friends that kept telling me, oh, Donovan, you can get a bigger house, you can get a bigger this, yeah. I've never been one to be into that stuff, me personally. I still have a 2003 Hyundai Tiburon, which is one of the best Tiburons that they built, which came the Genesis. And I still drive that car because I'm mechanically inclined. So I still have that car. I'm not one that just constantly moves cars and moves cars and moves houses and I move to different places. That's just not my personality. I'm content with what I got, and I really don't like what I got, because technically right now, as I do this video, I should be in the Philippines, but because of the coronavirus, I'm stuck here. But, you know, thinking about it, I would much rather be locked out of the United States than stuck in it. Because at least over there, you know, I could sit on the beach, you know, get away from everything. My American dollar goes a long way. I will be fine. But I'm stuck here, so, you know, here's where I'm at. And not really complaining about it. But we sit here and we talk about, what I want to really talk to you guys about is, you know, buying the stocks. And we've been telling people, you know, find the money. Find the money. If you want a stock, and the average United Airlines stock was $80, and then it went down to like 27, 26. Buy the stock. Be ownership. It's about having ownership. If you don't want to buy it for yourself, just buy one. Give it to your grandkids. Give it to your kids. It's about ownership. When I go to a lot of businesses that I have stock in, I know I'm an owner. And I walk in there knowing that I own a part of this company. So what we were talking about Sunday was options, stock options, dividends, you name it, just questions of what we should be doing. And $1.3 trillion runs through the Black community, and yet we have nothing to show for it. We are 12 years, people, from zero. 12 years from having no wealth. And when you have no wealth, what's the definition of that? You're a slave. You're basically a slave. You are basically a problem now. You are a problem. When Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, we now became a problem. And they were saying, well, now that they're free, we don't want them here, so what do we do with them? We got to get rid of them. And they tried to ship us off to Liberia, where there's a lot of former slaves, descendants that are sitting in the West African country of Liberia. So, you know, do your homework on these things. But we talked about that, but go check it out. It's on the Demetra K's page. It's on her Facebook page, as well as it's on her YouTube page. And a lot of great information there. And we're going to keep bringing Walter back. And I was talking to a baby boomer lady just today. And the biggest problem that we have is, oh, I don't want to lose my money. There is no guaranteed you're going to make all of this money type stock. And the stocks that I recommend are everyday. You know, you should be able to afford it. People go to Starbucks 2-3 times a day. So the stocks that I recommend, you know, if you can't afford $30 for one to be an owner, I don't know what else you can do. Dollar stocks in cannabis, less than $1. What's wrong with taking $5 and buying 5 shares? You know, things, you know, just things like that. But that's what we talked about. That's what we're going to try to talk about. But now, once again, everybody's getting so excited over this big bailout that we're having. And in the bailout, it says American taxpayers earning up to $75,000 will receive $1,200, and couples earning up to $150,000 will receive $2,400. They say the median Black wealth family of 4 is $15,000. It's $15,000, my dog. $15,000. The average white family is $170,000. So what does that tell you about the disparity in the wealth gap? So when they're talking about direct payments to Americans, they're not talking about Black people. They're talking about white people. So that's why the numbers are the way they are. Couples earning up to $150,000. We can't even break 20,000. So they say they will receive $2,400. Beyond those amounts, payments will decrease for individuals earning up to $99,000 and couples earning $198,000. Every child in single and two-parent households earning less than $109,000 will also receive a $500 payment. So not only are you going to get $1,200, if you're a single mother, single parent, you're going to get additional $500 for children that are still residing in the home. The payments will be based on 2019 tax returns or 2018 if those were the last returns filed. Now, if you're a person like me who's, I haven't filed a tax return since 2012 because I'm retired and, you know, whatever, you know, well, you know, if you haven't filed one in a while, because, you know, if you're getting your military pension or however it is, you still get a check. but you got to have a bank account for it to deposit, because these are coming in to a direct deposit. Now you got to remember, this is a one-time payment. One-time payment. So a couple of weeks ago, the economy crashed, and okay, you get $1,200. I live in California. $1,200 doesn't even pay for half the rent. I have no overhead as in rent, but just to live here with no mortgage, no rent, my expenses are still about $2,000, and I live by myself. Yeah, I got a Honda, I got a few things that I'm taking care of, whatever, and doing, but it's still $2,000 on average. So a one-time payment of $1,200 pays a few bills, cable, lights, utilities. Now, once that thing is done, what do? The bank still wants their money. The car dealership still wants their money. What do? We get so excited and they throw us a bone. Do you guys realize that in 2008, when they did the bailout, they averaged that every American that had filed the tax return would have gotten about $70,000 if they had given that money directly to the American people. So $70,000. Now think about $70,000. I could have taken $20,000, $25,000, maybe even $50,000, caught up on my mortgage, or paid my mortgage off, depending on what your situation was, but caught up on the mortgage, paid off some credit cards, student debt, or whatever it was. I mean, all this money is still going to the banks. Maybe bought a car, if I needed a brand new car to, upgrade and keep everything good, and everybody would have been fine. But Obama had 8 years and he didn't even do that. So, okay, great. We got this coronavirus. I've lost my, a lot of us aren't going to be returning to jobs, because now this is an excuse to lay those people off and bring in either cheaper labor or let the AI take over. And it is what it is, right? I'm a stockholder now. I'm not saying, that's a bad thing. However, when these corporations, it's about profit over anything else. They demand a profit. So unexpanded unemployment benefit insurance, $600 a week. Okay, you get that. But what happens when that stops? I mean, how long is that going to go? It says the weekly stipend is going to be up to 4 months. 4 months. Okay, let's say you're cool, but you're still looking for a job now. 4 months has passed, you're still looking for work because your job has been gone, or it's just not happening anymore. Yeah. You still got student loans you got to pay. You still got a mortgage you got to pay. And don't get me wrong, a lot of banks, what they did to steal a lot of people's homes was what I'm going to show you in this video about this guy. His name is Elwood Green, whatever his name is, but he's a comedian. It happened to him, and it happened to a lot of people. They steal your home. Forbearance. They say, okay, we're not going to put interest on it. We're going to let you, you don't qualify for this program. Don't worry about it. Stop paying your mortgage. He's going to explain the whole thing to you guys. This is how they steal your wealth. They steal your home. They keep you in debt, and they ruin your credit. Forbearance. We're going to waive your interest fees. They still want their payment. So you guys check out this video, and then, come back and tell me what you think about it.
Hello, everybody. You're watching The Political Vigilante. My name is Graham Elwood. Hit the like button. So here's what happened to me in 2008 and happened to roughly 6 million people, 6 million homeowners, 6 million families went through this. So the recession hit. Well, first there were several things. There was a strike in show business in 07 and 08 that really started. I was making money doing game shows and then doing stand-up comedy because I was making on game shows. So there was a strike that really hurt that aspect of the business. Then the recession hit. And one of the things that hurt me and a lot of comedians, you might not know this, was comedians make a lot of money. I made a lot of money every year in November and December doing office Christmas parties. And an office and companies they'd spend these nice money on Christmas parties. And in one night, you could make what you could make in a week, or in some cases, a month. So the Christmas party business was big. And I made for 15 years. I made a lot of money during Christmas parties. I'll give you a great example. I was working in a casino in Lake Tahoe. This guy and his wife saw me and he says, I own this court reporting business. I want you to do my Christmas party in Los Angeles. And I did it, and I made great money. And other people would, I got hired, especially working the casinos, you know, event planners and stuff would see you and hire you for their event, but they did a lot of, all the companies spent a lot of money on holiday parties. So when the recession hit in September of '08, money was already tight because of the strikes. No companies spent any money. All the Christmas parties dried up. So I had no work. It all got canceled, like literally almost 10 to 20 grand worth of work. Somewhere in that neighborhood was gone, disappeared overnight. And I was paying my mortgage later and later in the month. And I was told if you get the 30 days, don't be more than 30 days late, it won't affect your credit. I had very good credit at the time, and an over 700 credit score. So the recession hit. Bush put a bunch of, I believe, $700 billion into for stimulus. And my mortgage was with IndyMac Bank. And I called person on the phone, and I was like, or they called me. They're like, you're getting late. We need a payment. And I said, I don't have the money. I lost a bunch of work. The recession is killing me. And he said, well, I'll be honest with you, sir. Once you're more than 30 days late, then we can help you. So actually, you should wait till next week. An IndyMac employee said, I wish to God I would have recorded this phone call. But this is what this employee, and I don't think this guy was lying to me. I think this is what he was told to say. He was some $10 an hour phone bank person. I'm not mad at that guy. And he said, if you wait till after 30 days, then all this stimulus money that President Bush just put out there, this will help you out. I said, okay. So I waited till after 30 days, and I called them, and they said, oh, we're going to put you on a forbearance. We've just heard that term again, haven't we? Forbearance they're talking about. Pay attention to what happened to me in 2008, because they are going to do this again with this bullshit coronavirus stimulus plan that will actually take more people's homes away. But pay close attention. They said, we're putting you on a forbearance. What that meant was they cut my mortgage in half. And they said, you got to pay half mortgage for 3 months. At the end of the 3 months, we're going to restructure your loan. We've got millions of people are in your boat, so we're backed up on paperwork. We'll restructure your loan, get you a lower mortgage payment so you can stay in your house. Because the whole plan, as George Bush said, to keep people in their homes. America doesn't want to, the American government is not in the business of buying people's homes. No, the American government isn't, but the banks are. So I even then rented my condo out. I rented it out. And I was like, whew. Now with the rent cut in half, the rent that this woman was paying me, she was some corporate attorney, was covering everything. And I was like, oh, good. Oh, at the end of the 3 months, great. At the end of the 3 months, they went, oh, you don't qualify. And now you owe us 3 months in mortgage because you have been paying half payments. You are behind now. And they said, and I was like, wait, what? And it was like, I couldn't get a straight answer what the amount was. I'd get a statement in the mail saying it was one number. I'd go to the IndyMac website, it would be a different number. I'd talk to someone on the phone, they'd look at my account and say it was a third number. And I was like, what? So Obama gets sworn in January of 2009. I'm like, finally, good. This is Bush's bullshit. That's what I thought. That's what I was told. Obama's going to save the day. This is crooked Republican. Only the Republicans are crooked with the banks. So, of course, Bush's stimulus plan doesn't work. It's a scam. Obama's going to save me. That's why I voted for him. He gets sworn in. Same thing. New stimulus plan by Obama. And I call them up the thing again, and they're like, well, you're 3 months behind now, so you definitely qualify. Same thing, forbearance plan. They cut my mortgage, not in half, but they cut it by about 40-some%. So almost half, 42, 40, somewhere in there. And I was like, okay, same thing. And this point, I had a tenant renting it. So I was like, my wife and I moved into a little one-bedroom apartment, and the rent, and with this new lower payment, and I just restructure the loan. I'm not trying to get out of paying you, just restructure the loan. And what they said, we're going to restructure your loan, pay down your balance so that your monthly payment is lower. That's how we're going to keep people in their homes. That was the plan. Obama put in $700 billion into the stimulus, right? You want to take a guess what happened after the end of these 3 months? Oh, how did you figure that out? Yes, they did the exact same thing. You don't qualify. Now you're 6 months behind on payments. And it was like 15, 20 grand. It was crazy what they were saying I owed them. And I was like, what? They did this one more time. So twice under Obama, once under Bush. And I was like, what do I do? So a friend of mine said, call a lawyer. I called this law firm there, said, oh yeah, here's what you do. Stop making payments. I said, are you sure? The lawyer said, yes, stop making payments. Okay. When you get near eviction, that's when they'll let you stay in your home. That didn't work. I filed for bankruptcy. And I found out later, One West Bank, then headed by our good friend Steve Mnuchin, what they did, along with several other companies, they bought my mortgage and millions of other people's mortgage for about 30 to 40 cents on the dollar. So they bought my mortgage for about 30, 40% of what it was worth. And they looked, and I was in a nice neighborhood. So they said, if we kick this guy out and resell his home, we'll make a profit. I had a friend of mine who lived in a neighborhood that got way overvalued, and he was way underwater. And that neighborhood, they were like, so they actually gave him stimulus money to restructure his loan because he wasn't in that great of a neighborhood. But they wanted me out. So they got me out, and I found out the judges were on the take from the mortgage companies, some lawyers. I don't know specifically if my lawyer was, but I had heard that lawyers were on the take. And they used stimulus money to kick me out of my house, sold my house, made a profit from it, didn't help me stay in my home, and they did this for upwards of 6 million houses, homeowners. Which, it's not 6 million individuals. That's 10, 15, 20, who knows how many people were affected because there's families. I just was a guy, but I was married at the time, so it affected 2 people in my home. Imagine people with a wife and a husband and wife and a kids, and what, 3, 4, 5 people were affected. And they did that with taxpayer money. And Attorney General Kamala Harris had all of this evidence from people like me and hundreds of thousands of other California homeowners. One West Bank was a California bank. They had evidence to prosecute. This was a criminal. And they said, they had emails, all this stuff saying, yep, we're going to go kick people out of their homes and use government money to do it. And she wouldn't prosecute. Steve Mnuchin donated to her campaign in 2010. And then when she ran for Senate, he donated to her campaign again. And now he's Secretary of Treasury. So here's what they're doing now with this stimulus plan. They're giving people loans, and they're going to do the same thing. Now they're going to do it with businesses and homes. We are currently in the lowest home ownership since the Great Depression, pre-coronavirus. Our home ownership numbers were lower than the Depression pre-coronavirus. So what this stimulus plan is, $2 trillion spread out to us, but $4.25 trillion for the banks. So I was talking earlier, if I can get a small, I'm a business owner, right? I have a little corporation that runs my business. If I get a loan and I keep my employees, according to them, I don't have to pay it back. It ends up being more like a grant, provided I don't lay anybody off and I keep people hired and working. Okay, that seems fair. The big corporations, they don't have to pay it back whether they lay people off or not. What do you think they're going to do? Keep the stimulus money, fuck you, worker, lay you off, outsource the jobs or hire people for less, and they're going to do that with your business. You're a small business. They're going to do that. The banks are going to do that with your businesses. They're going to do that with your homes, with your condos. They're going to do that with everything. What Obama could have done in 2009 is given money directly to people and said, here, they figured it out. It was something in the neighborhood. All the stimulus money in 2009, 2010 that they put out there could have paid each working adult 70 grand. If I would have gotten a check for 70 grand, I would have taken the 20 or whatever they said I owed, gotten current on my mortgage, so that money would have gone to the banks, right? Would have paid off my credit cards, that would have gone to the banks, restructured my loan, lower interest rate, take some of that money, invest it. Maybe I would have bought a new car or something. Because remember the car thing? That's what it could have done. That's what the stimulus ban should have been. They should have locked down more, no mortgage, no rents, no bills, no fees, and here's money. Just watch. And when we hit 30% unemployment this summer, and everyone's going to have what, a $1,200 check? Maybe they'll give us another $1,200 check if we're fucking lucky. If our corporate overlords, please, please, please spit in my face and throw a little crumb in my face, please. That's what that $1,200 is. They're going to grab up more property, more land, more businesses. Small business owners are going to be crushed. Everything's going to be a Best Buy and a Cheesecake Factory, everything. That's what they want to do. They want to own everything. So that's how I got screwed 10 years ago, and that's exactly how I got screwed and millions of others got screwed. This is how they stole my home. Both parties stole my home. They let the bank steal my home, and both parties, just again, let the bank steal all of our homes and businesses. If it ain't time for a general strike, I don't know what is. I don't know what it's going to take. 80% unemployment? 10 million people die from COVID? What's it going to take? Because here's the other thing that's in this bill. The testing for COVID-19 is free, but guess what? If you have to go to the hospital for COVID-19, you're on your own. So anybody gets sick from this has to go to the hospital, even if you survive it. Which is you have a high rate of survival unless you have pre-existing conditions. You're still going to get stuck with an Obamacare. Even if I have a shitty Obamacare, if I get COVID-19 and I just have to go to the hospital for 2 weeks, I'm going to come out of there with a $20,000, $30,000 hospital bill that I can't pay. That's going to happen to millions of Americans. Some people are going to get it. It's not going to affect them, and you're just going to have mild symptoms, and you're going to be done with it. But what about all these other people? And the hospitals are overrun. What are we going to do? This is going to be, you're going to see it. More people are going to file for bankruptcy. We already had people filing for bankruptcy. Medical bills were the #1 cause of bankruptcy. What's it going to be now during the middle of a fucking pandemic? The way Bush too, but maybe Obama could have done way more. It happened in the last several months of Bush's last term. Obama had 8 years. He could have fixed everything. Joe Biden was his fucking VP. You know, that rapist with dementia that dumbass neoliberals think is going to save us from Trump. He's going to get COVID-19, or they're going to point out his dementia, and then Mario Cuomo is going to step up. And Bernie, who's the most qualified to do this, won't fight back hard enough. He won't call them out for this shit. That's my problem. That's my problem with this two-party system. That's why the progressive movement should start really getting together. Bernie still has a chance. Great. I hope he can pull it out. Who knows? Anything's possible. Anything's possible right now. I'm all for it. Bodies are going to start stacking up in the next couple months, and they're going to hang Trump for that, and rightfully so, because he's an idiot. He got rid of the pandemic task force 2 years ago. He's like, oh, we're all going to start partying come Easter. He's a moron. They don't know what they're talking about. But 96-0 in the Senate. So that's what happened to my house, and that's what you're doing now with this stimulus plan. But let's all hope $1,200 can pay for 3 months of bills. Provided your total monthly expenses are only $400, that $1,200 is going to be fine. Good luck. That's what the federal government.
Wow. So that's the video. And, so what did you guys think? It makes sense, doesn't it? Regardless of what the banks tell you, what the student loan people tell you, you have to make those payments or they're going to make you default. They're automatically going to make you default. And if you hear the noise, that's my dog going in and out. Stop going in and out. Love her. That's Wonder Bell. So you've got to make those payments regardless. Half payments, whatever. It was a nightmare, and they took his home. And that's what they're going to do this time. They're going to get it all. And it's so sad because a lot of us didn't learn from 2008. And as black people, a lot of us are still recovering from 2008. Do you guys remember when the economy went down in 2007, 2008 under the Bush administration? A third of black wealth was taken right there. Because a lot of our wealth is either in our homes or in our car. I mean, it's getting that bad, people. We are 12 years from zero. So I'll give you another example. When they talk about black reparations, oh, we can't do it. We've got to study. You know, let's have congressional hearings and stuff like that. When it comes to white people and their interests, there's no study needed. Jews, no study. Asians, no study. Just give them the money. Where did they come up with $2.2 trillion in this bill? How are you going to pay for it? Isn't that what they say? How are you going to pay for it? So I know a lot of people right now are going to ask me, well, you know, what is reparations, you know, value? Well, if you're asking me, by the calculation that I have, starting $17 trillion is what you owe descendants of slaves. Because not every person of color, black person, is going to get a check. Because if you came here from the Caribbean, no, you're not going to get a check. If you came here from Africa, you know, within the last, I don't know, 30, 40 years, you're not going to get a check. You have to be able to trace back your heritage to slavery, which is only 4 to 5 generations for some of us. Okay? So that's when I hate to say, well, you can't do, there's no way you can do it. Bullshit. You can do it. Slaves were property. A lot of these slaves were insured. So they've got records right there at the National Archives. And a lot of us know our heritage and, you know, where we go and so on and so forth. So when you say my name is Washington and you say your name is Smith, and, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that, however you think. All you're basically saying is the person that owns your family, this white man that owns your family, was the Smith. You know, you've seen Roots, you've seen how it is, you know, the Reynolds and, you know, things like that. Those aren't black African names. They're not. You know, my last name is Sadiq, but my birth name was, you know, Malloyd. Now think of the name Malloyd. That is a derivative of Malloy, which is Irish Gaelic. My first name is Donovan. Donovan Patrick. That was my name. And so what does that tell you? So we can trace that back. Not everybody's going to get a check. So they're talking about 17 billion initial payment. Boom, 17 billion. And then we think 3 trillion after that for about 25 to 30 years. Okay? And that should be enough to, you know, to repair us financially for damage done to us. Now, a lot of people say, well, if you give them the money, they're going to just spend it and waste it. Not all of us. Not all of us are idiots. And even if those people do waste the money, as the big consumers that we are, and they spend it, it's going back into the economy. So that's a good thing. And, you know, Marcus Garvey said this a long time ago. Not all of us are going to be able to make the boat. So we're going to have to leave some people behind. It's just as simple as that. And from what is happening now, today, with this coronavirus, for those of us that did not learn from 2008, here we are again. And you didn't learn a damn thing. So you've got us resurrectors out there, people like myself, telling you, hey, start buying some stock, start doing this, start doing that. You don't have $5 to buy stock, but you have $10 to buy a dime bag of illegal weed. Because we know the legal one is like $30. So I'm not mad at you for your economics, but you're going the illegal route versus the legal route. So if you want a part of this cannabis game that's going to be coming up, the only reason the federal government hasn't legalized cannabis on the federal level is because those senators and brokers up there haven't set themselves up to make all the money. You're talking about billions of dollars. Look at Washington and Colorado and all of states where all this stuff is legal. That is what we're talking about. That's the only reason they haven't legalized it yet, because they haven't set themselves up to make the majority of the money. So when you're a person, average person like myself, the only way I'm going to get into the legal side of cannabis is through the stock options. And I am buying as much as I can, because even if I die in the next 10 years, I'll leave a legacy for my children and my grandchildren, and they will have that to at least start with. Majority of white wealth comes because they insure each other. Insurance is their main source of wealth. You know, Jack, good old Jack. Jack, hey guy, what's going on, man? Jack dies. He's left his family a $350,000 life insurance policy. That's where they get a majority of their wealth. Then, you know, they've got the stock market. They've got all kinds of stuff, tangibles. That's what they have. Us, we don't have that. Our bootlick so-called black leaders, they're just in it for themselves and their families. You know, so, I mean, look at how they got people voting for Joe Biden, a man that helped destroy thousands of families in the 90s. And they say, oh yeah, that's going to be the next guy. A basically Hillary Clinton clone, and they expect that guy to beat Trump. So, from 2-point-something trillion that Trump just signed into office, I mean, how are you going to pay for it? Nobody's telling you how they're going to pay for it. Where is this money coming from? We've spent almost $7 trillion in useless wars in the Middle East. $7 trillion. Not including the $3 trillion Donald Rumsfeld said that the Pentagon lost. They couldn't account for just the day before 9/11. So you're talking about over $10 trillion that could have been spent right here. Would have paid for healthcare, would have paid for student loans, maybe fixed our infrastructure, all this stuff. But when it comes to black reparations, how are you going to pay for it? How are you going to pay for it? Who cares? How are you going to pay for this? So now they're talking about $150 billion for healthcare. And it says the deal allots $150 billion for the healthcare system and hospitals, which have been sounding the alarm that they will soon exceed capacity and are already running low on critical supplies. $100 billion will go directly to hospitals, and the additional funds will go towards supplies, medical research, and workforce increases. Some $16 billion is specifically allotted for hospitals to procure supplies like personal protective equipment and ventilators. How much of that money do you think is going to go into the executive and the administrative people's pockets? I want you to think about that. Universal health care. We wouldn't be in this pandemic situation if we had universal health care. So, loans to small businesses. What small businesses are going to be left after this? Please answer that question. Please. I see mom and pop stores, they're done. They're done. Lawmakers say they are allocating at least $360 billion to help small businesses and nonprofits. How many small businesses do black people have compared to other groups? So how's that going to help us? Yeah, think about that. Much of that will go to businesses to pay workers, mortgage interest, and rent. Pennsylvania Senator Pat Toomey said businesses up to 500 employees are eligible for this assistance. When will we learn? When will we learn? Once again, people say, well, that's socialism. Universal health care is socialism. Why aren't you screaming about corporate socialism? Here we are bailing them out again for their bad decisions. I'm a stock holder. They bought their own stock from the last bailout. I mean, what is it? What do we have to do? It is evident to me as a black man that my issues are not going to be addressed. This white man is not concerned about me, but every other group is coming here and they're practicing group economics, and they are entrenching themselves into America and what it's about, and we're still being left behind even though we have built this country. Yeah, it's amazing. So just wanted to share that little video with you guys. This is something real quick I just want to do on the phone. I'm doing this actually on my phone. And just tell me what you think about that. My name is Donovan Sadiq. I'm the Inland Empire Informer. Please check out my YouTube channel, Donovan Sadiq. Just go over there and I should be up there. If not, go to the News from the Edgemont and you'll see all my podcasts, all the videos from me, and from Demetra and I. And please join us during the week and like on Fridays and especially Sundays on the Demetra K Show, where we will talk about these issues and how things are going. Another thing is I want you guys to also start practicing group economics within ourselves. Right now with this downtime, we really need to start thinking about what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. Is it too late to start businesses? Maybe not. $1,200 check, one-time check. If we practice group economics and we take that $1,200 and get 10 of us together, that's 10,000, what, 10, 12, I'm not good at math, 10, $12,000 now. Yeah, about $12,000 now together with 10. Maybe we can open up a nice business that has staying power. $1,200, I really can't open up a really good business, but maybe we should get into the tech business, you know, the gig business, and start, you know, really thinking about what we need to do. We're 12 years from zero, people. You know, I can't keep ringing this alarm forever because the countdown has begun. This is it. Once, you know, people say, I know some of you guys are out there saying, oh no, you don't know, this guy doesn't even know what he's talking about. They said 2056 is when, you know, we'll be zero. And by then I'll be dead, so I don't care. Ha 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 ha. Whenever it comes to black numbers and government statistics, those numbers are skewed. And they're always skewed positively. We know in the black community, when they say black unemployment is 4%, I see Ray, Pookie, and all these other people still unemployed. So when they say 12%, it's actually 15%. I'm sorry, when they say 5%, it's actually 15%. You know, you can almost triple that in our community. So, you know, wake up. You guys know what time it is. I don't have to tell you that. So, you know, hope you guys enjoy the video. For those of you guys that are homeowners, so those of you guys that have student loans, those of you guys that have car payments, listen to what this guy in the video said. This is exactly what's going to happen. And you're going to end up losing your home, your car, and they're going to take your wealth, and you have a possibility of being homeless and being in that situation. You've got to make those payments. You've got to. You've got to. Oh, unless, you know, you're going to take a chance and, you know, buy some good stock and hope, you know, once the corporations knew they were going to get their money, the stock market rebounded just like that. Just like that. They just rebounded. I'm going to be okay. Individually, there are blacks out there. They're going to be okay. Obama's okay. Haven't heard a word from him. I'm going to be okay. Demetria K is going to be okay. My mom is going to be okay. Some of you guys out there are going to be okay, and you're set. We got to start practicing group economics. We're 12 years from zero. It's that important. I'm Donovan Sadiq, the Inland Empire Informer. You've just been informed. We'll talk to you guys a little bit later. Good luck.